What's up, y'all? Welcome back. And I know things look a little different right now.
Last time, it was a bit darker, a bit hazier, and also they hated us.
And we're not allowed back there ever again.
We were banned from that podcast studio
because our values don't align. I don't even know what that means, but
we found a really...
we like this place better anyways.
Way cooler,
people
way better.
are more our people, you know what I'm saying?
So welcome back to Fuck It Mask Off. Today is crazy, and we have a crazy, crazy, crazy person to show you.
I don't even know how he's here.
We're in the heart of Nashville
with
the heart of Nashville. Everybody,
give it up for Harry.
Harry Hudson.
That's wild.
For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow.
That's actually the...
Did you like that?
Thank you guys for the greatest intro of all time. I am. I know. I never had that intro before. That was... Let me take a second.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm happy to be here.
Take all the time.
We're happy to have
guys.
you.
That's. I feel great.
We're just happy you showed up, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I think it's only because you
trek.
live so close to here, but...
No. Because I was just like, yo, I had to be here.
Yeah, really impressed by our work ethic,
Yeah.
huh?
No, yeah. I was
he
like,
loves what we do.
yeah.
Really professional.
I'm a huge fan of
Of what?
I don't know. I don't even know what you guys do. So
I don't even know what you guys do. It's fucking crazy. It's fine. Honestly, you don't need to know it.
Now we're
matter.
lifelong friends, so...
Yeah.
y'all know Ryan, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
Ryan's like my little brother.
Yeah, he knows our
a
manager.
little background. Yeah, our good friend and manager, Ryan, we love you, knows everybody because he's a really good guy. So he makes good friends, and this is a good friend of his.
So he connected us and said that we would hit it off, and I think so far we have.
I think we've been. You guys wrote my journal. We're here.
We wrote in the journal.
The vibes are high.
Yeah,
right
it's a
now.
great day.
Almost too high. I'm convulsing.
Me too.
I've
freaking
been
out.
gripping my hands this whole
The
time.
meat sweats.
Stop talking about the meat sweats.
Yeah, she's talking about something wild about meat sweats. She had a lot of ribs last night.
So many ribs.
No, for real. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah.
So we're in Nashville. We are very new to Nashville, 2 months, but you are a lot fresh meat here.
Yeah. Meat
Sorry about
sweats.
the meat.
Yeah,
I'm
y'all are
sorry.
crazy. No, I just moved out here about almost a month ago. But I've been coming out here for a while now, and so this was like the first time where I'm like, let me just
in and out.
let me stay grounded out here.
You moved in yet?
I'm trying. I'm looking at those plants, and I'm like, I need plants. Everything is like, I need a lot of things.
Foliage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I need a lot. Like I just unpacked a lot of things yesterday, and I realized because I haven't really been here, so I got back yesterday. I was like, wow, I haven't even moved in. It just feels like I'm living.
Where'd you come from?
Deep question.
No. I just mean like, yeah.
Where'd you come out?
Yeah, my mother first off. Shout out to Susan, greatest human ever.
Love you, Susan.
But Jersey is where I'm originated.
Okay.
And then moved to LA when I was just a wee child. So
We too.
Young
Van
lad.
Nuys, California specifically.
We did a stint in LA for a little bit recently this year.
Yeah.
It
Where'd
was
y'all
short lived.
Mine was 3 months. Hers was a year.
Yeah.
And I came in, tried it, and said, we gotta go, brother.
And I was like, all right, what am I going to do here by myself? So we left. But we were in
Where you
Beverly
living
Hills.
before though?
I was in both in Michigan.
You were in Michigan
Yeah.
the whole time,
Yeah, whole life.
and then Nashville
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the second place we've lived.
on a farm.
Well, besides that,
On a
third place.
farm, yeah.
Yeah, 100 acres.
Huge farm.
It's just you two.
Yeah. Well, no. My
Yes, no.
Yes, no, yes, no. My mom and my stepdad live there, and then my sister and her husband and their 3 kids are going to be moving out as well. It's like a compound
We love that.
situation.
Yeah, we need that.
Got some
Family.
extra space if you want
Yeah.
to
If
come.
you
Maybe
ever
I'll
wanna
build a
come
little
shack up.
shack up there. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
sick as fuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's plenty
We'll
of
put you
room.
in the trees, really connect you.
My dream, yeah.
Ground you.
Yeah,
That
that's
is my
literally
dream.
actually my dream. So like, I'm kind of living in the trees now. So
Oh, I believe it.
yeah, I wish. So tell me about yourself. Oh, okay.
No, okay, but for real, we want to know, like, obviously we know that you do music and stuff, but like, take us back to the beginning, start to finish. You said you were from Jersey, moved to LA. Go from there. LA on.
Or you could
Paint us a picture.
whatever picture you want to paint
There's a
is the
big
one
Paint
we're
that, yeah.
we're looking at.
I guess wild child, come from a beautiful family, a lot of toxic shit. I guess everybody has that, but
Hey.
a lot of love.
Yeah.
Beyond the love. So I grew up, I would say everyone's like, they grew up in church. I grew up in AA. So
Yeah.
like that was my church.
Yeah, I feel
They kind
that.
of just dropped me off there and like with my family, and they're just like, this is what your Fridays look like. And so it's like, I guess growing up amazing childhood. I've always kind of been this fucking weird person. If you can't tell, I'm just like everyone's always like Harry's in Harry's world, always constantly walking to the beat of his own drum. Like my mom will tell you that like I used to walk myself to school at like 5.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like 4 miles away. And like she found me like multiple times, like leaving the house, like can't find me in my bedroom, and like I had my backpack on and I would walk to school because I knew the way.
Sure.
I didn't like people telling me what to do and what time to leave and where to go.
I'm leaving
and like
today.
this, like a little kid, and my mom's like, you were the most difficult thing to raise ever, because like I would like, you know, pack my bag and leave home, you know, and parents are like, but I have food and cookies, and they're like, you come right back. Like I never ever came
I'll
back.
find my own.
So it was a lot of like, you know, police finding me and things like that, where she was like, yeah, like that. So I'm in my own world a lot. And then I guess I started making music in high school. I can skip a lot of things and y'all can ask, but like,
No, wait. We heard from a little birdie that you wanted to be a rapper at first.
I was a rapper at first. Let's be clear about
and your
that.
stage name was
I don't. You guys tell me because I had 17 of them.
Ryan Bottom.
Oh, Ryan Bottoms, yeah. Fuck, how did y'all even? That's crazy.
Yeah, we got the inside scoop.
So that was my English teacher who named me that, because he was like, he kept calling me Nick Bottom from the Shakespeare Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah,
right.
so there was a guy named Nick Bottom, and they turned him into an ass, like a donkey, because he was like a jackass kind of thing. And so my teacher kept calling me Nick Bottom, like it was like his funny, because I had a Shakespeare class. And so I was like the class clown. So he's like, okay, Nick Bottom. That was this thing. And then like I was like, I need to be Nick Bottom, but my name's not Nick. And I was like, but I can't be Harry Bottom because that's fucking weird.
It's not good.
Yeah. And so someone's like, why don't you just use your middle name? And I was like, Ryan Bottom? Yeah. And I used that for like, 3 months, and it was sick.
It was so
so
sick.
sick.
I wish we could have lived that through with you.
It was a great time. Well, also I started rapping because of Ryan's brother. So Chris, if you guys know Chris,
Yeah.
we just like spent every day together, like all the time. And I would freestyle. I loved freestyle, like rapping, which
Okay.
is what I still love to do. It's like how I make music still, but I sing it
That's
instead
such
of
a
rapping.
talent, man.
And Chris like pulled me aside, and I was at Ryan and Chris's house, and they were like, you should really actually, I was like 15, and like, you should really actually rap. And I was like, no. Like, it's like just funny. It's like, to me, I would just say crazy things. I loved Eminem and stuff like that. So
Love.
I was
I
like,
used to memorize every single rap of his and record myself rapping and send it to her.
me.
wait, that's,
I swear to God.
where are those? Cut to the clip. Of
No,
those
they're on
voice notes.
Facebook and they're buried really deep.
I would send them on Facebook.
So it'd be
for
on my
everyone to
wall,
see.
and it would be her rapping with like the like 2K camera. You know what I'm talking about? Like how there's like 4K
course.
or whatever, but it's like all pixely.
Yeah,
and it's her
of
in the
course.
basement.
That's-
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, you get it. So then I was just
with
like, I thought it was a good outlet for me because I had a lot of like trauma growing up.
Yeah.
And a lot of anger and a lot of like
So much anger. So angsty.
yeah, a lot of things, but like I don't have like an angry soul. I guess I do. But like
Comes and goes.
it was like a balance of how I can like, release who I am, right? So it's like for me, when there was like trauma or fighting at the house going on growing up, like I would get a Walkman and I'd put the Walkman on and I'd go into a closet, and like the typical thing where like I can escape through music, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I make music in the first place. It's an escape, right? Without like, you don't need anybody around. You can listen to you and music, right? And so for me, that's a huge reason why like, I keep a journal around. Like I always write songs, I always write notes, I always write things. And that's how I was in school. So I never paid attention. I was just like, how do I like get my actual thoughts out? And, like geometry is not going to help me, or
Right.
anything I'm learning is not helping me. And someone's getting paid to teach me. And my brain didn't comprehend that. Because I'm like, the people who I have in my life that mentor me are free for free. And so I'm like, why is somebody like, they don't want to be here, they just want to pay? It got weird.
Right.
Right. And like for me in school life, like, I'm dyslexic and I'm very like slow with learning.
Same.
And I remember like 5th grade, my teacher like told me to read a paragraph and I like messed it up. And then she like made fun of me like crazy for like,
Seriously?
like awful.
Do you remember her name?
No, and I don't.
We'll
my mom
find her
came in
and
and
be
ripped
Hey,
her up.
we'll
Yeah.
find her. And you're
She's probably dead, honestly.
Oh.
No, she's probably old. She was
Spit
old.
her name.
I'm like, yeah, good riddance. Yeah. It's like, no, it's karma. Like people,
Yeah.
there's some people who shouldn't be here. And no, I'm serious. But like, you don't tell a kid that like they're dumb in front of the class and like laugh at
right.
them. And she's like, I'm never gonna call on you again to read. Like,
Okay,
and like,
good, don't.
and so then after that, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be a funny guy because instead of people laughing at me, I want people to laugh with me, right? And so like, I just became a piece of shit in school, right? And I think school's amazing if you're trying to be a doctor, if you're trying to be a lawyer, if you're trying to be, you know, a therapist, if you're like really trying to help an accountant, cool. Like, I'm sure you can Google how to be an accountant and learn online. But like, school is a very toxic fucking thing. And I'm going to say it because everybody I know who went to school are in $300,000 debt or $100,000 debt or $200,000 debt or $80,000 debt. I'm saying all these things because I've literally learned for the last like week from people's debts in school. And I'm like, how is that even a thing? First off, I don't get it. Never will. Not my thing. But like, I mean, obviously with social media and things, people can do anything.
Yeah.
Literally
right.
everything.
And so it's like as a kid, traumatized, class clown, let me be funny guy, whatever. It's very easy, even though I didn't want to be that, but then it became like a staple of like, I need to be class clown in every yearbook, in every grade. Sure. I need to win it. It was like more of like, I need to do this.
I will.
It's for my sanity.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I never took school serious. Sometimes I regret things because like I'll visit like MIT and Harvard now and like work with people there. And like, I'm like, damn, you know, if someone can showcase like these schools exist and like there's a way to actually get to them instead of just like, you need like, there's ways to do anything in life, right? And it's all like a system, everything is. And it's like you need to learn how to like beat the system, right? And so that's what I did in school. I just blackmailed all my teachers. And I'm like, it's a system. So like you want to get me in trouble, I'm gonna figure out how to get you in trouble too, because there's a boss that you have. And it's like, I don't have that. It's like my parents who just love me unconditionally. And like, if I fail a test, amazing. If I, you know, mess up or get into a fight or get kicked out or whatever, it's like, not the best decision. Yeah. My decisions were made off my mom's reactions. Right. So like I'll get kicked out of like class or school or something or, you know, whatever. And I'll like, you know, ditch school. I'll do something. And my mom gets called and I'll come home and she was just like her face. She doesn't have to say anything. She's like, it's okay. You know, but like her face, I'm like, I'm a mama's boy. So I'm like, damn, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to disappoint her. And that's kind of how I was raised where it's like, you know, learning that. And then I got into the music thing. At like 15, 16, like taking it like more serious. And I was funny enough, like playing volleyball at this time.
We heard that too.
Oh yeah, we were gonna bring up the volleyball.
Yeah. No, it was a thing. And like, I was on the US like junior national team.
What?
And like my team was like, went to the junior Olympics all the time. And like,
that's crazy.
I have a lot of like athletes in my family.
Sure.
And my dad at the time, I don't know where I think he was in China, but he could have been in jail. It was one of the two. He was doing something.
Same.
Yeah, it was something going on. But he was coming back, and I remember like football season just ended, and I was just like, I need to play a sport that he doesn't know how to coach.
Really?
Because he always wanted to coach me, and I was just like, I just want you to be there, not coach me. And I was like, volleyball, he's gonna hate that. I was like, he's gonna hate that. So I was like, I gotta play volleyball, and I gotta figure out how to be good at it.
And like,
and then you were actually really good.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh man, like, well, I'd have to be great at this one. Yeah. And I was just like, what am I so good at this? Like, what's happening? But I was like crazy and angry playing this sport that's like, you know, like the world was just kind of funny.
That's so funny.
And so then my coach was the Olympic coach for like the men's team. And so we practiced with them. And then I was like, yo, these are the top dudes in the world. I talked to the dude who's like the Michael Jordan of volleyball, who's like, would mentor me, and he was like on the logo, and I was like, so how do y'all make money? And they're like, well, we really don't unless we win the Olympics and we make a couple $100,000. I was like, wait, so there's no money in this sport? And I was like,
just playing for the thrill.
Yeah. So like after like sophomore year, junior year, I was like, I quit.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I need to be a rapper, dog. Like that's where I'm trying to be.
Yeah. Let's get back to that.
Yeah. I don't want to be a volleyball player. No. And then like, no, then I just like was like doing it for fun. And then Chris, Ryan's brother, was like, yo, you should really take this serious. Like I'm going to figure out a producer for you. There's people at school, I'm sure, you know, yada, yada, yada. So Chris is one of our friends, Diego Farias, amazing human. He passed away a couple years ago, but like that was one of our closest friends. But
I'm sorry.
He was like another reason I made the music, right? So we met him at school. He's this hyper kid, just a genius, like metal guitar player, was in a metal band at like 12. And like he started the band and like they were touring like to Russia and things, and he would leave high school and like do this as a freshman. I'm like, yo, you're the coolest dude in the world. Yeah, like the nicest kid, the most energy, the most love. And he was like, I'll produce for you. And so he put me in the studio, and he had a studio because his dad's like a very like popular Latin Grammy like producer, like won all these Latin Grammys, like crazy. So he had a studio at his house, and he put me on the mic, and I heard myself for the first time, and I was like, this is it. Yeah. This is my whole life. This is what I want to do. Because it was something where it's like, putting your truth into this thing without confrontation. 'Cause I never liked that until I got older. But like putting truth into whatever that is, and it was not even truth, it was more of just a release of just pain. And I could be saying something from someone else's point of view, but like that's where I fell in love with music. I'm like, this is like a nice escape. Because I look at the time and there was 6 hours of me just like trying to get the song right. I'm like, that was the best use of my time. Instead of overthinking or feeling bad about myself or not feeling good enough or whatever you feel in high school, right? And it's like, that's when I started getting serious. Chris and Ryan's dad was friends with Suge Knight. So if you guys don't know who Suge Knight is, he's a wild guy. But, you know, he was a part of like Death Row Records and this whole thing. And of course, Chris and Ryan's dad was like, Chris is like, yo, I got this guy. He's like a young kid who's a rapper. And Chris told his dad that. And he's like, and Chris was like, I'm going to manage you. And we're both 15. He's like, I'm going to manage you. I'm going to figure out how to, I'm going to figure out how to, you know, get you signed. And he's like, we're going to go meet with Suge Knight. So I remember we took like the bus from school to go to his office. And this is where I got chin checked. So I get there and he's like, so where's your music? And I'm meeting with him, this guy, John Atterbury, and this other guy, Cecil, all amazing, talented, just like people in the industry who are just like wild. And like, I sit down and they're like, where's your music? And I was like, I don't have the music. What do you mean? I thought we're here to make the music. And they're like, and I know I played something and I rapped like off of a beat on like off the MP3 or whatever. It was a beat and I just rapped and they're like, that's cool, but where is like the recorded music? And I was like, like, I haven't got that yet. Yeah. And they're like, well, why are you here? And I was like, okay, like, I don't know, like whatever. And they're like, come back in a couple of weeks with like 8 songs. I was like, okay, what do I do? So I was like, I don't really know anybody besides my friend Diego, who's now like in Russia or something, like making music as a kid. So I'm like, where do I go? So the first place I went to was Guitar Center. If anybody's trying to make music, go to Guitar Center because everyone who works there makes music. Yeah. Went to Guitar Center and I asked everybody, I said, who produces, who engineers, who does this? And I got like 3 guys to like help me make all these songs.
What?
And from then I came in, I showed them the music. They're like, they have potential. And I was like, sick, like where do we start? Right? And like, yeah, where do we get there? And like, we did like, they put me on a show to like open up for some act. It was a guy, Mario, who sang You Should Let Me Love You. At the time.
Actually?
Yeah, that was my first show.
What?
Him.
He's the best. He's coming out here December 1st.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's rad.
We have to go.
It.
I love that song.
We would just be slow grinding. For
It's the craziest concert. It's coming December 1st. It's like Neo.
Are
T-Pain.
you kidding?
If we are not
Neo
there,
has been a chokehold.
if we are not there,
T-Pain,
tops
you have to
off,
be
I
there.
don't want
Yeah,
to do
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Mario. Oh, shit. Robin Thicke or something.
Robin Thicke.
All iconic humans.
We just had a conversation about him, didn't we?
Yeah, because I helped dress his like fiance or something.
Oh, fire.
Sick.
Yeah. In
Wow.
France. I don't know.
In France.
Yeah, she was a wardrobe stylist.
Life is
for
wild.
Like, little stint.
It was
we did.
like one
yeah.
time I just got shipped off and then I'm just like with Robin Thicke walking through a garden. He's like, so what? I'm like, I don't know, Robin.
I don't know, Robin. This is crazy. I love this garden. So historical.
That's fucking crazy. We're going to that.
And so I opened up for him and I was like, oh, again, with like music, like I just had a backtracking and I just rapped and I did it with one of my friends at the time. And I was like, I need to be in this world. Right. And this is like where everything like switched. So the week I was going to like sign with this manager, his name's John Atterbury. And like, he was the only person that actually like saw potential. I was not good, but the potential was there and the confidence was there. Right.
Yeah,
and
all you
like,
need.
and he pulled me in and he wanted to do a rap group. So me and my friends had this little rap group with Chris and like all these different people. And there's like 7 of us. And he was like, Harry, you have something in your tone. Like, I'm going to get you vocal lessons. Like, I want you to sing in the group. And I was like, nah, dog, like, I'm a rapper. Like, I'm not, because everyone's like, yeah, fuck you. You know, like, whatever. And then the dude, and all my friends are like, like, you're a singer. Like, And then he was just like, no, but like, seriously, there's something in your tone. You should really consider it. And he's like, I'll help you do it. Right. And I was like, no. And he convinced me, or I'm like, I finally was like, gave in. I was like, fine. Like, okay. And unfortunately, probably like 2 weeks after that, like he passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Like randomly. And I was like the first person to ever believe like in the industry that like I can be in this industry. Because everyone else was just like, you don't have anything. Rightfully so. Right. And like, you know, you always hear that like you need one person to like kind of give you that like boost.
Yeah.
And after he passed, I was like, okay, like I'm a singer. Right. And so like looked online to figure out how to like sing and got a vocal coach and like did little things that I could like do to try to be in that world. And then, yeah, like I started focusing on that, and that changed my whole like perspective on life and trajectory of like my career, and like gave me a career and kind of wild things. But after it goes more in depth, I skipped over a lot of years, but after he passed, I went to like this music school, because this was like after senior year of high school. And then I didn't get into college, and my dad was like, you got to do something. Like, what do you want to do? And I was like, music. He's like, you can't just do music.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work like that. He's like, you have to go to school. So I was like, okay, like let's find a music school. So I go to music school, and I'm in the program, and this is like a real story. So I sit in the class, and I'm just ready to just get on the mic and like write these songs. And they were like, okay, so we're going to teach you all of the process of making music, right? Looking back, I'm like, damn, like I could have just learned a lot.
Yeah.
But I was just ADD, like I need to get on the mic.
Yeah.
And like, so at the end of the semester, we're going to record one song. And I was like, wait, at the end of this, like, and so everything they were saying was like very like technical, and I was like, I'm out. And so I got up out of my seat and left. Right?
Seriously?
This is a real story.
First day?
First day.
Wow.
And I was like, can't do it. And then someone followed me out too. And another guy's like, I can't do it either. And like left. And then we were talking, and pretty much he was a producer from Sweden. One of like, just like this genius young guy who's just like killing it. And he was like past his visa stay. So he's like, I need to get back to Sweden. And he was like, you know, we started working a little bit after that class. Like he had a studio in a storage space, because he was out of his visa, so he can't like rent any studio or be a part of the world.
Yeah.
So he was like living in this, like, when I say storage space, I mean like the orange storage. Like,
Yeah,
with like the
container.
garage door
Yeah.
thing.
Correct. Yeah. So he turned it into a studio and
The stew,
like like a living
fucking
space
stew in
and
the
stuff.
store. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
So we're just in there like constantly making like music, and then one day he's like, hey, do you want to get this internship and come to Sweden with me? And I was like, and work on this album. And I was like, for sure. And I told my parents, like, I was like, hey, I'm moving to Sweden. And they're like, what the hell is happening? And this was like during that like summer after I graduated high school. And then everything kind of just like switched for me. So I like lived out there and learned how to really properly make music with like really like smart, talented humans. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, then I came back, and I was like, I made a project, more of singing project, and I was signing a record deal at this time. And like, and I, you know, like at the singing project, it was like, it was very like poppy. You know, because I was in Sweden. Sweden like is known for like pop records. Like Max Martin is like the greatest pop producer and writer of all time. So like everybody comes out of Sweden. I don't know what it is over there, what's in the food or the water over there, but everyone's like so genius with melodies, and they don't even speak English, but they write English songs, and it's just like they just know melody. So in my head, I'm just like learning melody. You know, it's like that's all I wanted to do is make pop music. So I'm like, oh, this is the music that can get me rich, and this is the music that can probably get me to, you know, a pop position, right? And like I didn't know who I wanted to, like, I kind of got distorted with like all this stuff. Skipping forward, now I'm meeting with a label that like I really wanted to sign to, and they wanted to sign me. So I was like, oh my God, like I made it. I go on Friday, I'm meeting with them, I'm playing my music. They were just like, hey, like, you know, there was like 4 people on the label that I was obsessed with, and they were like, we want to put you as a focus and yada, yada, yada. So I was like, sick. This is a Friday. I leave the label, go to the hospital, and they're like, hey, like you have cancer. And I was like, whoa, okay. So like, let me just like step back, because my life has been so fast, right? And they were like, it went from like the greatest day of my life to be like, wow, like I made it. This is what success is. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be fucking popping. Like this is going to be beautiful. And then, you know, flash forward to like literally at night going to the doctor because I had an asthma attack. And
I was going to say, what made you even...
I had an asthma attack, like really bad. And I have asthma to begin with. And so I'm like, it's just going to be like, they're going to give me like a treatment and I'm going to be on my way. So I go to the ER out in Van Nuys, and I was like, yo, like, just give me a treatment. And then that was it. So I was sitting and this is how God or the universe, however you want to believe life, but like I'm sitting in the room getting this treatment and like whatever. And they're like, you'll be here for the other 30 minutes and then we'll send you home. So I was like, perfect. The head of the doctor, or the head of the hospital, the head doctor left his laptop in his office. And so he came back, and this was like 2 a.m. So he came back to the hospital to grab his laptop. So he had to go through the ER to get back into where he needed to go. And he saw me and he stopped. He's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I have asthma. He's like, can you cough? Can you do this? And then he was like, And he's like, can you come with me? And so he goes and he turns on the PET scan and the CT scans, and like turns on everything. And we wait, and he puts me through all the machines. And, you know, we wait an hour, and he comes back, and he was walking down the hall, and like I knew right away, like, oh, I'm like, I have cancer. because I kind of like knew it was going to happen in my life. Weird enough, like I would have weird dreams, and I saw this happen before. And he walked over and like he got on his knee, and this fool looked like heartbroken. So I'm like, oh, what's about to happen? And like he showed me the X-rays, and he was like, you know, like you have late cancer, like you have late lymphoma. Like we didn't know what it was. It could have been leukemia, it could have been lymphoma, it was blood cancer. Shows me the X-rays, and there's tumors just the whole body, like not even a little. It's like the whole body is covered.
Oh my God.
And so my mom's like, did we catch it? He's like, no, like you need to start chemo like tomorrow, like right now.
Oh my God.
You know? And so like, it was like, what just happened? Right. And so like my world just like shut down.
Completely.
Yeah. And like at this time I needed like 5 surgeries in like 3 weeks. And like, it was just like a lot of like, we need to do these surgeries, but I had pneumonia at the time because I got like way sicker while I was in the hospital, and like you can't do a surgery when you have that. So it was just like I went from like being healthy to like literally I'm like pissing myself and like can't get out of bed and like IVs everywhere, and like I'm just like, oh, like what just happened? And then that kind of was like the biggest wake up call I've ever had in my life. And then yeah, went through that whole like journey like right away. So it was like, hey, like you think you're fighting for something, you work so hard, and it was the biggest blessing I can ask, because it was like the week I just turned 20, right? And so I'm thinking this whole this rich, famous, making pop music thing, this whole thing, and then I was like, what is anything even for, right? Like that's where my mental went to, and I was just like, I don't even know what, like, did I want that? Did I not want that?
You thought you knew where you were headed, and then you just get put on your ass. That's crazy.
Yeah. So like that hit crazy. And then I always say this story, but it's like the typical like my first chemo session, you walk in, it's like fluorescent lights like this, and it just like fucking beeps everywhere, and you see 20 other people that are dying, and you're like, okay, so like I'm 20, so I'm not a pediatric patient, right? So pediatric is 0 to 19. I'm considered an adult, so I'm 20 doing chemo with 80-year-olds, right? Yeah. Mm. And so I walk in and everyone's like, oh my God, you're like my grandchild. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like you, not your grandchild.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you need to see me. And that's where like I started like getting really depressed, because like I was being treated like a kid, understandably, right? Yeah. So I'm getting advice from like, it's that typical thing. Like when you're on your deathbed, what's the advice you're going to get? And I got a lot of that, because I knew a lot of people that passed away. And I remember my first chemo session, I was sitting next to this woman, Bonnie, who is like an angel, who's like, I talk about her every day. I met her once.
Oh my God.
Like she's a part of like my like everyday stories. Mm-hmm. And she sits next to me and she grabs my hand and she's like, this is gonna suck. Right? And I'm like, what the fuck is like having a 10-hour chemo session? And they're like, she's like, this is gonna be terrible. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna like be pretty much miserable. Right? And she was like, but this doesn't define you. Right? And she's like, it's just a part of what's happening. It's not like anything that's like crazy. You treat it like a 9 to 5, you show up like at school, like this is like your new life, right? But it's not who you are, it's just a part of your daily thing, right? So don't let it define you. So like, okay, whatever you say, right? And I'm like, and then she's like, what do you love to do? And I sit back and like go, so this is why I told that story before, because I sit back and I'm like, I love to do music. And then like that thing, do I love to make music? Because I was doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Right? And in my head, it was for the right reason, because I wanted to make money and I wanted to take care of my family, and I wanted to do like, you know, the typical when you're a kid, like that's what I want to be successful, right? Is what you think that's success. That's not success. And that's something I learned later. But it's like, do I love music? And I see that part of my life. But then I go deeper and I go back to when I was a child in my fucking closet listening to my Walkman. And I'm like, yes, I love making music. And then she was like, well, would you die for music? That was the thing. She's like, would you die for it? And I was like, well, I'm like dying now and I'm confused, and okay, like I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, this is my escape, and it saved my life, and I know like music saves so many other people's lives. And I was like, yes, I would die for music. She's like, okay, no matter how sick you are, how bad you feel, how tired you are, whatever it is, like music before the cancer, right? Show up to the studio for 2 minutes a day, listen to your favorite album, go watch your friends record in the studio, go write as much as you can, but like it could be 2 minutes, but like make sure it's a priority of your day, right? Then show up like it's a 9 to 5 to treatment, right? And then she's like, you're close with your friends and family? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, music, friends, family, cancer, right? And so like for me, that like changed my life, because I had my friends pull up to the chemos. I had family pull up to chemos. I was making music a part of my everyday. And, you know, I started going on social media, and that's how I started gaining a following, because I'm like, this is what chemo looks like, and this is what like these are my homies, and like I ordered Pizza Hut to chemo, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Was that your first day of chemo that you met her? Mm-hmm. That's
crazy.
Unreal.
and she passed the next week. And so like she just gave me we just sat next to each other.
She was just there to
gave me
give
all
you a
of her life.
message.
Oh yeah,
man. You
for
like
sure.
were so meant to.
For sure.
That's the Lord.
Yeah, and that's like the higher power. What what are we all doing here? And like I talk about her every day, and so it's like I want to like make sure her legacy lives on because she was dope as hell, right? And it's like I remember her clear as day, and it's like that gave me so much comfort and confidence in my journey after that. Because I'm like, okay, like she told me to get a journal. This was 10 years ago. I've literally have a journal on me for every day for the last 10 years. I have hundreds of journals, like just because of that woman. And she was like, my biggest regret is not writing down what I did in my 20s because my Alzheimer's and my chemo made me forget everything. I don't remember my friends' names. I don't remember where I traveled. I don't remember anything.
Wow.
And she's like, and I had the best memories. Like I had the best life. Like I know that. She's like, I just can't tell you what it was.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, that's scary as hell.
That's heartbreaking.
And the next day my brother came by with a journal. He was like, start telling your story. So I was like, okay, whoa, like, yeah. So like I'll be in chemo writing. I'll be like, I still have all the journals. And it's like, you know, I look back and I'm like, whoa, like who I was as a person just like grew tremendously in like the person I've always wanted to become.
Yeah.
Right. But it's always like a roller coaster of like life. But she told me that and I was like, okay, like I live by like the words she's said. And that's how I live my life now. Because I'm like, oh, okay, I can move forward. And with my music, like I just want to help people. I'm not like, I'm an artist and that's what defines me. It's a part of me, again, like cancer, right? An artist, like it doesn't define who you are. So that's where people get messed up. That's why you have your favorite artist committing suicide. That's why you have your favorite artists like who are depressed as hell, selling out stadiums. It's like no one's happy, period. And so it's like, for me, it's like, okay, then what is the pinnacle? As an artist, you think the happiness is being successful. It's not what I pray no one really gets that success because the people I know who are successful are miserable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And life is very hard to navigate when all eyes are on you because that's not how life should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, for me, I was very blessed. I got to go through this whole like weird journey. Right. And I'm still figuring out life. I'm far from perfect, but I'm like, that led me into making music that's truthful to myself. Because I remember like halfway through treatments, my doctor came in the room and he was like, shout out Dr. Piro, the greatest doctor in the world. But he saved my life, you know, I have to
Thank you.
he wrote this poem and it's tatted on me.
Really?
Yeah, his handwriting. He's like wrote it to me at like one of my birthdays or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. This is like my family arm, so it's like all like my family members. Like
That's a really good idea.
but this is like my shroom trip arm.
Let's look at
It's a fun art.
the creative arm.
Yeah, like a lot of like where I'm from and things like that. But he came in, he was like, you're gonna be good. Like a little bit towards the end of like, you know, so that's when I got the sign. He's like, you're gonna do, you know, like 5 more treatments or whatever, and like we're gonna knock this thing out. Like you'll be okay. What's next? And I'm like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? Right?
You
It's
go
like,
through all of that, and then what's next?
And then he was like, you know, you're gonna relaunch your life pretty much. And he was like, this is about to be a relaunch for you to finally become who you wanted to become, right? So it's like, this is your second life.
It's a lot of pressure.
Were you expecting that at all? Like, were you assuming that it was kind of going to be the end, not to be dark, but like, did you
In the beginning,
think?
yeah, for sure. Because like, you just like, you know, there's tumors
could
in your
you
lung. You know,
not?
It's like, yeah, just be careful when you sleep and sit up when you sleep. It's like all these things where I'm like, oh, I'm choking. I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
But I always had a positive outlook because I was like, my biggest fear in life is death. And then I became really okay with it to the point where I talked to all my friends and family and being like, hey, if I do go, like, this is what I would want you guys to do in life. Nothing like, don't feel bad about it because I'm so okay. Right. And that's a tough conversation to have with your parents and things like that.
You should never, no child should ever have, and no parent should ever have to hear that from their kid. Like,
and so for me, I became like very okay with it. And I was like, okay, like I know like there's a higher power. I believe in God. I believe like wherever it takes me. And like, that's my journey, right? Because I believe that you and God make a deal before you come down here to do what you're supposed to do, right? And yeah, I think him saying that kind of gave me this thing. He's like, you're going to help a lot of people with your music. And you're going to travel and you're going to do your thing. And I'm like, I can't wait for that to happen. So it's like, where does that even start? You know, like I have to make the music to even do that. And like to be vulnerable in music is very difficult. Right. And so, took a couple like moments off after like chemo because it was like go into your new world and you leave and you're not being treated 24/7. You don't have nurses looking at you 24/7. You're like, if you have a cold, like you just go in and like they cure it right away. It's like, I don't have this baby thing anymore.
You went from
so
complete
like
freedom to none and then back into complete.
just to walk out the world, but I'm so blessed and I have this whole perspective of life. Like everything is amazing, everything is perfect. And then you get honked out of the street and someone's like, get the fuck out of the way. And then you're like, okay. And then you hear all these toxic stories and you see all this manipulation and all these things. And I was just like, okay, well, like the world's still going.
Yeah.
And like no one's seeing it the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And so that was very depressing.
Yeah.
You look at most cancer survivors, they're mostly depressed and they don't want to talk about their journey. They don't want to talk about anything, right? And it's like, for me, I was like, I need to be the person who's an advocate for that, you know, because it's like going to war and then being like, wait, I'm actually going to go back just to like hand out waters and like, you know, be a part of that. And it's like, for someone who's like has PTSD, it's like, that's a real thing. And so for me, it's like, what's the bigger purpose of what I'm trying to do? And so I came up with the charity while I was like, probably like 3 weeks into going through treatment. And I was like, I can do this better. And my brother will tell you, he's like, you're psychotic. Let's just get you right first. I was like, but I need to build a hospital.
No, I have to build a
I have
house.
it in my journals of like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Oh my.
You know, and then, you know, 10 years later, I have one. So it's like the idea of you think it, you can do it if there's passion behind it. And everyone's like, that's so much easier said than done. But it's like, do you think anything I've ever done was easy? It's like, no. Right. And that's like with anybody. It's like, it's never easy. But if you have an idea of what you want, that's not a, like fabricated, like fugazi kind of idea, like of, I want to be rich and famous. Right. It's like, what is that? It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You know? So yeah, my story gets so deep. So I'm like, I'm skipping a lot of shit. So I'm like,
I'm just mesmerized. I've had full body chills this whole time.
Let's go back to like the cancer center and stuff and how that all came to fruition. Like, let's hear about your journey with that, because I'm assuming at this point some people don't know, but you started and built a teen cancer center
y'all get this
here.
on the camera? It's called Hey, I'm Here For You.
Oh,
and it says, if you look at it, it says, by wearing this beanie, you are helping someone who isn't feeling so good feel a little bit better. And so it's called Hey, I'm Here For You. It's tatted in my hand. You can zoom up on that too.
that's so. We gotta get those and wear them.
And I pretty much, so as a pediatric patient, you're 19 doing chemo with a crying 2-year-old, right? So for a 19-year-old, you're still a baby. And they're like, you know, they feel like they can't. Imagine doing chemo next to someone crying the whole time, like being on a plane. Like, it's like, that shouldn't happen as much as like how terrible that is that you're that young going through it. It's like, there needs to be this separation that no hospital has.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've worked with a lot of charities, and I'm not going to name, but I've raised money for a lot of charities. And my whole thing is I want to connect with the kids. No cancer charities really connect to kids. They connect to banks. Right. And for me, I'm like, I would be like, hey, I can raise money, but can I go visit the kids in the hospital and just hang out with them? Well, we don't know them. We have to go through a lot of different people to figure out how to do that. Okay. So what, you know, and I raised a lot of money one time for one of the biggest cancer charities. And I said, where did my money go? 2 months, no response. I went to the offices. I said, where did my money go? And they had it printed out legally because I was like, I need to know. 85% went to marketing, 7% went to like helping like their team, and like 3% went to like research.
Wow.
Right. But I was told something totally different.
Of course.
And I was like, okay, so this is all bullshit. Right. Because I was like, I just want to be a part. I'm like, charity sounds way too hard to even start.
Yeah.
I just want to be a part of a good one. Right. And so I kept looking, and it was all the same thing. You're just doing a tax write-off and you're not really helping people, and you haven't even gone through it. You're an old white person. Like, you're not, like, you don't even know what's happening. Maybe your daughter went through it or something. It's like, the stories are so like, they're just not, it was just ridiculous. Right. And it made me very angry. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to start my own. But I went on Good Morning America to talk about like a lot of the stuff I was doing while I was going through treatment. And there's this company called Teen Cancer America. It's called UK Cancer Trust, like Teen Cancer Trust in the UK. And it was started by Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend from The Who, the band. And they brought it over to America to implement these programs. And what they do is they build out centers, like spaces like this big, in hospitals strictly for teenagers. To do treatment in, to be around each other. There's recording studios, there's a gym, there's meditation rooms, there's a church. There's things where now, because legally from HIPAA laws, if we were in the same cancer center and you liked sports and I like the same sports, or you like drawing and I love drawing, and I asked the nurse, I'm like, hey, is there anybody on the floor that like likes drawing that I can hang out with? Like legally, they can't disclose anybody's information, names, things they like. No, there is nobody on the floor. But if I was in a shared space that has to be legally built, so many red flags in the healthcare system. But if it's built, then we can, I'm drawing and you're like, what is that? Can I draw with you? And then we can build our own relationship and be friends.
Yeah.
But a nurse can't introduce people to be friends. So most kids are just very lonely. They don't know any of the other patients.
And they think no one else there is like them, or
Correct.
there's no connection. My God.
Because your chemo time is with 3-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds. So how are you going to connect? Right. And so that's the first charity, Teen Cancer America, that I was like, you guys are fire. You guys are so dope, because that was the first charity where I was like, hey, can I see the kids? And they're like, yeah, tomorrow. It's like, what? And then it was at UCLA, like in LA. And I was like, wait, I can, and they're like, yeah, go kick it with all the kids tomorrow. Yeah. And they're like, we'll just let you in. And I was like, oh, you guys, and it's just ran by a husband and wife, like, who are just the sweetest humans.
That had to be such a relief.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so there are good in this world. Like, there is good. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Thank God.
And so I'm like, you guys are my dream. So anytime I went on tour, like I'd hit them up, because they're in a lot of hospitals now. And they're like, I think they're almost in like 80 now, maybe like shooting to 90 soon. Like,
It's crazy.
Amazing. Like they just build these spaces out, and they're just the best people. And so I was like, really wanted to do a space with them, but I just needed to figure out like how to even do that. So that was like my next step. I was like, how do we do one together? And we're trying to figure out when and how to do this. And then my dad randomly passed, and like that was somebody I was like the most close to.
I'm so sorry.
And I was like, okay, so like this was 2 years after treatment. And so I'm like, I understand death, right? And then I lost like my best friend in the world, like my dad, who's like my biggest fan and my biggest advocate, and talked to me 8 times a day just about everything, all my business, all my personal, all like anything, right? He just knew how to speak to me. And I lost that, and I was like, okay, again, now I'm back on the rabbit hole, like tried to kill myself after that. And I was just like, like I don't get it, because I've been trying so hard to like understand
what is
it.
this
What's the
lesson?
fucking
Correct.
point?
And I was like, this is just difficult, because now I'm just like super depressed.
Dude.
And after he passed, I had to do my first show ever, like 3 days after. And someone's like, why don't you just cancel? Because I had to go on tour. And I set this whole thing up, and like I signed a record deal because my dad needed back surgery. So I was like, I'm going to sign this and I'm going to pay for your back surgery. And then he just passed. And I was just like, dude, like from a heart attack randomly, right? And like, I'm like, why? Right. And everyone's like, you should just cancel this stuff. And I was like, no, this is like what I do. Right. I saw this tattoo, and it says singers sing. But if you look in the mirror, because my dad would always be like, Harry, sing me a song. And I'd be like, no, like I'm not ready. I can't do it yet. Like, and it'd just be me and him. I'm like, I never like was comfortable to do it, because he was like my biggest critic. Right. But also my biggest fan. And I was so nervous, because he was like the person I wanted to impress the most. And then he, after he passed, I was like, everyone's like, you don't have to do the shows, whatever. Let's just take a break for a couple months and like have you grieve and figure it out. And I was like, nah, like, and I kept hearing my dad's voice being like, singers sing. Like, this is what you're this, like, don't think about me, like, just do it for yourself. Right. And that gave me like that drive to be like, okay, yeah, singers sing. Like, this is what I do. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of, because like, I can go down a really dark path. Again, I was like thinking about all this suicidal stuff. And then like I did the show, and it clicked, where I was like, oh, this is what my doctor said. Like, I'm supposed to be here to help. So I used the whole tour for the year to grieve. So I'm on stage just like crying and like letting people know what I'm going through. And then everyone else is crying, and everyone else is connecting with it, and because everybody can relate in a way or type of way. And so everyone's like, whoa, like it became more of like just like a therapeutic show. And so like for me, like that's how I want to approach my music. And from that, like I started like, being more into like visiting every cancer center when I was going through the city. So that's how I was Teen Cancer America. They helped me do that. So I was like, it was this bigger, like I get to be with these kids who are going through it. So like I got so distracted that I wasn't even properly grieving. I was just like helping people out. And so like after the shows, I'd say, wait outside. I'll meet whoever wants to meet me. And so like these conversations are not like, I like your music. It's like, I almost killed myself last night, or I lost my son last week, or, my dad, like, it's just like, I have cancer or whatever. Like it was just like the heaviest things you could possibly be a part of. Right. And I was like, wow, this is like amazing. But again, heavy.
So heavy.
Right. And like for me, it's like you again realize everyone is going through something. Right. And so it's like don't judge a book by its cover. It's like, that's why I love everybody. I'm trying to be nice to everybody I see on the street or whatever. Cause I'm like, yo, I see you, right? Because we all see each other. If you can know how to do that, then you know how to actually live life. And that's success to me. And so my dad's biggest dream was to live in Nashville for some reason, because he loved country music. He's from New York, loved country music, never even been to Nashville. So he's like, Harry, I see you living in Nashville. Like, you'd be great out there. Like, and I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Like, why would I ever go to Nashville? You know, like, I never even knew much about it, right? But he always said this all the time. And so he passed, and funny enough, Teen Cancer America was like, hey, they didn't know anything. They're like, hey, we have this opportunity. Nashville's hospital's building, 6 new floors. Do you want to raise money and be a part of this? And I was like, you little fucker.
You.
Little fucker. And I was like, absolutely. And so I came out here after tour to grieve him for like a couple months, and I fell in love with the city. This is probably 2018. And I was like, okay, like I'm going to live in Nashville at some point, right? And so from then, like 2020 happened, so we couldn't build anything. So like it took a while to like build the center out. But now it's up and running, and now I live here. So the whole thing is, so the whole point of the charity is to have, for my charity is, hey, I'm here for you. But we built this cancer center with Teen Cancer America. And I like to say my charity is the fun uncle. So Teen Cancer America goes through all the laws, they go through the state, they go through, it's like, I did that with them, and that took a while, and I respect them so much, because it's just like, I'm like, I want to get to the kids. I don't want to be in these meetings about like big red flags and board meetings. Like, I want to hang out with kids and do fun stuff.
Hands on, man.
And so I was like, how do I build a charity that focuses on the individual patient, right? So for me, I had music to fight for, right? She said, would you die for music? So I started this charity to ask everybody else, what would you die for? Right? So these kids who are 12 to 19, it's like, let's figure it out. They don't even know what they want to die for yet. So it's like, I will provide all of that. So we raise money, and the funds go straight to the kid instead of straight to the research or straight to the cure that we're trying to find. It's like, what about a kid who can't afford therapy? What about a kid who's their parents are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to be in the healthcare system or whatever, and there's not proper therapy, there's not proper food, there's not proper anything. It's like being in a jail cell. Pretty much, you can't go outside at certain times. You can't leave your room at certain times. You can't have food past 8 p.m. It's like, why are we not at the Four Seasons mentally? Like, why am I not have the best room service 24/7? Why do I not? Like, it's very confusing, and you go in there and it's sickening. Yeah. Right. And it's like, let your kid die or be in debt forever. Right. Which one do you choose? Welcome to America. And so it's like, how can I be fun uncle and pop up in these kids and be like, what do we want? Like today I get an email, I'm about to meet with they're like, some of the girls want to learn crocheting. Cool. So it's like, we will figure out how to make all that happen. Right. Little girl wants to act. Cool. We'll get you acting classes. The kid wants to do YouTube vlogs. Cool. We'll get you all the cameras and the microphones to set it up, and I'll help you, someone set it up for you. Mentorship, like programming, helping kids find passion, and like through passion, you find purpose. Passion, music, love music. I love making it. It makes me sane. It keeps me grounded. Is that my purpose? Far from it. And it's like, that's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks their passion is the purpose. Like, we're here to help people. Like, like that's what it is. We're here to love and feel physical things and feel pain and emotion, and because you're never going to get that again. Unless you're an awful human. I believe in reincarnation, like, welcome back here again. But like, if you figure it out, I'm just like, we're here to just like love and be happy and learn through each other. Right. And like, be in, the roller coaster of life. Again, like, I'm not trying to come off as like this, like everyone's always like, you're so positive and like all this thing. It's like, I'm very negative a lot too. It's like a balance.
Well,
like,
you had to be. It's either this path or this path, and that path is, you're just not going to be here probably. So you had to, I can't imagine. And a lot of people I feel like would take what you went through and like go down that other, when you're going through that much and you're dealing with that much, and mentally, like the strength to choose positivity and like keep going, and like you can't even imagine that.
But that's also what you realize. Happiness is a choice, right? Everything's a choice in life, right? You wake up and choose happiness. You don't wake up because you got good news and you're like, I'm happy. That made my day. Like, I got the good news, now I can go out with my day. But then when you get bad news, it's going back to like, it's like this up and down thing, right? But it's like, you have to wake up and be like, hey, shit's gonna get thrown at me, but how do I handle it? Like yesterday I had an awful day. We're human. And it's like learning how to be grounded and finding that, because you always have to change that up. Like, I have a routine, and then when that routine gets messed up, then you have to find a new routine. Right. And so it's like, you wake up and you choose it. That's why like I try not to leave the house if I'm not like feeling my best, because I don't want to walk around and have people judge me off of like 1 second.
Yeah.
Right. Cause I don't feel good or whatever. But it's like, for me, I'll tell you if I don't feel good and I'll show up and be like, oh, we can talk all day. But yeah.
I literally. What time
No,
is
I'm just messing with it.
It's 12:15.
Okay.
Probably, you know.
Oh my goodness. Where's the coffee? We need to go next door and just really finish this out.
I'm not really cry. But yeah, because I'm like, you wake up and choose it. And for you guys who are in social media, I'm assuming like that's how you guys started this. It's like, yo, like, I think it's just like showing people that like it's not that serious.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Like
not.
nothing's that fucking serious. And, you know, people are going to judge people off online things always. And that's why I don't really share my presence online. Because I'm like, meeting me is the dopest thing you can probably do.
Yeah.
So dope.
But like, because I know who I am as a person, I don't know who I want other people to think I am.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like it's hard for me to post online. I can't just be like, because I overthink a lot. I'm like, oh, what if people hate this? Or what if I
Yeah.
get judged? Or what if I'm wearing something that's awful? Like, I don't know.
And they're always going to say something mean. So
No matter
Yeah.
what. No matter what.
Yeah.
They're so
mean to us.
And it's like, but it's like learning like how to like just be positive and just like be yourself. If you're authentically yourself, then like you don't care.
And
Nothing's
if
really
they do
gonna-
say something bad, it's like, well, that's me. So
I love when people say something bad. I don't really like. I'm just like, that's hilarious.
it's
so
really
funny.
funny. There's some funny shit. They
Because it's
come
like you're
up
wasting
with.
your energy when that person could be doing a lot, probably amazing things. Like I think everybody has the opportunity to do crazy, amazing things,
Right.
but people don't think that, right? So I'm sure being from Michigan, I'm sure like it took a while to be like, wait, there is opportunity, and I could leave here, and I could do something
Yeah.
greater than what I think my friends and family have done, or whatever. And that's most of America. I just happen to grow up in LA where it's like, if you're not on Disney Channel in 5th grade, you're a failure. So it's like, you know, like that's just pretty much how I thought life was. And like, you know, you work with these kids here and I want to show them like every connection I have, these kids now have.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want the craziest job and you want to shoot for the moon, let's figure it out. You want to be an astronaut? Well, let's introduce you to Elon Musk this week.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so somebody's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, we're going to figure it out and let me show you to have something to fight for. Right? Because there is hope at the end of this fucking thing. At least for what I would
I was
say.
gonna say, and you're firsthand, obviously. Oh man, is everyone okay in here?
Borderline.
I was just gonna say I'm teetering, but it's fine.
Oh my goodness, so incredible.
You've lived like 100 lives.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm like, I hit 30 and I'm like, yo, I just want this one to just be chill. Like I want to be like,
If I could just like relax for a little bit.
let me just like, you know, help people out. Like I want to be a dope husband and a dope father one day. So I'm like, that's where like my chapter is leading to. 'Cause I'm
We've
like,
been
I
talking
did
about that a lot
Yeah,
lately.
we've been talking about kids. We've been talking about marriage.
Trying to figure out, because in my head, from what I've been through and things I've been through, I've like told myself like, oh, I'm gonna be alone forever, no kids, nothing, good. I need no one and nothing. And then
And
it's
you're
like,
fine with that.
Then you got a farm. You're like, but
yeah. And then
then I
just
see
like
a little cowboy.
life in general and like
little
seeing
tight little pants.
Yeah.
betting dad, I can smack him and say, hey, like, yeah, like help with the cows and stuff. Yeah.
Well, just in general, it's like people, nobody wants to be alone. And
Yeah.
like, I just been lying, because of whatever. So
Yeah, you put up a shield and you act like you don't need it, but everyone wants it.
Everyone
You know?
wants
That's all. Welcome to life. We're here to be physical. You think God was like, let's put all the distractions here and let's see who actually can get it.
Yeah.
Right? The happiest people, like, it's like marriage is never going to be easy, right? Relationships are never easy. And it's about like, first off, before you get into anything, I feel like you should know who the fuck you are as a person
Yeah.
first. Second off, it's like, which I'm still figuring out.
Yeah, same.
Hey,
But yeah, the idea is like, cool, like 20s, mess around, like have fun, shoot for the moon, do crazy things, like travel, like that whole thing. Like I think 30s is like you have a grip of kind of who you are. You don't know who you are in your 20s. 30, I'm like, this is the first time I'm like, I have a grip. I just ran the New York City Marathon 2 weeks ago.
seriously.
I just moved to Nashville to work on this cancer center. I'm like, okay, like my 30s is like launching in a fire way because I'm like, okay, this is like, I'm on board meetings, which I'm about to go to right now. And
board of the whole
Board
hospital.
meeting and marathon are two words that will never be in my vocabulary, I don't think.
you guys are gonna run a marathon. We should do that for my charity. And
Fuck
make you
it.
guys run
Okay,
it.
If it's for you, yes.
we would run a marathon for you, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm putting a lot of my friends to do it next year.
Okay,
But,
we're in. We're in.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's about doing the things you don't want to do.
Okay,
Welcome to
okay.
life.
We're ride or dies. we will do anything for you.
Yeah.
It's just the way we are.
So now we're friends.
Yep.
Yeah. So you say
fucked.
marathon, and I'm already training when we get home.
No, don't worry. I have a training regimen I can give you guys.
Oh shit.
That'll be sick.
I'm not kidding. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, you know, I think everybody should enjoy life. I think everybody should be present. I think figuring out what you want to do. I think figuring out the right people to be around. And if people can love you the way you need to be loved, like keep them around. There's so many people in the world.
So
You know,
many
people
people.
just feel like I just have my friends because this is where they're there.
Yeah.
Go out in the street and talk to anybody because there's a lot of beautiful people in this world, right? And so it's like, enjoy, figure it out, be crazy, be weird, be authentic, and you know, life.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sorry, I just freaking talked. I don't even know how you're gonna edit that.
No, that was
we don't edit it,
We're gonna
baby.
let that
It is
shit roll.
raw. It is real, and it is rugged.
uncut.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
uncutting it.
sick.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. Well,
I hope you guys are okay at home. I'm sure you're not, but
take a deep breath.
and take this as whatever you're going through. Someone's always going through something, and it's worse or better, or whatever the case is. There's something worth fighting for.
Something worth fighting for, and fucking love each other, man. Stop being dicks.
Stop being dicks.
Let's all get together. Let's band together, and let's sing in harmony.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love where that's going. Yeah. Yeah. Let's all sing together
I'm
in
seeing
harmony.
us
Yeah.
all in a circle,
Singing?
swaying back and forth, singing some sort of thing.
I pictured arm in arm,
skipping?
running a
some
marathon.
sort of
yeah.
running marathon.
Running the marathon.
Okay, we're gonna run the marathon.
All right, we're going
Y'all
back
heard
to
it
the marathon.
first, so like, we're
Yeah.
gonna,
When
like,
you
check
see
back in
us
next year, then we're
next
gonna
year
figure it
with
out.
sweatbands on, and I'm like vomiting, I'm like, mind your fucking business.
I'm gonna have her on my back. Ooh.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be sick. We'll run on the 100-acre farm, and then
The 100-acre
we'll,
farm.
we'll practice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank y'all. Love you.
Thanks
Hope
for
you enjoyed
watching.
This.
We'll see
Bucket
you next
mask
week.
off. And don't forget, take your mask off.
Take your mask off.
yeah.